What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of BarkleyLakeBassin. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about a snell knot. It's a knot that I really like to tie. It's a knot that I like to use in kind of specific situations. I don't always use it. I use it every time I tie on a Texas rig. And you'll see why when I get into tying. Alrighty, guys. Now, looking at this, you can see I've already got my line pulled through the hook. Reason being is this line is kind of hard to push through an eye. But you can see here that I've got my line pushed through the front of my hook. The reason I do this with a snell knot is because later on when I get it done, when you go to set the hook, it drives the hook upward. You'll see what I mean when I get done tying the knot. But what I like to do when tying this knot is to pull probably about 8 inches or so, 6 to 8 inches of leader through the high of the hook. Then what you're going to do is you're going to pick your hook up, and I'm going to separate my main line here, but you're going to take your tag end here, and you're going to pull it down beside the hook. Then you're going to come back up and you're going to create a loop right down here. So as you can see here, you've got a loop down here. You're going to take your left thumb and pointer finger. You're going to pinch that loop. You don't need a big loop, just enough to stick the eye or the end of your line through. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to wrap the line around the main line and the shank of your hook. You're going to do that about 5 times is what I like to do. Again, in my past videos, I've said I like to wrap it 5 times. It's just a confidence thing. That's just the number that I've picked in my head. Nothing significant about it. It's just I like to wrap it 5 times. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to pinch your wraps and let go of the pinch that you have on your loop here. You're going to take your tag end here and you're going to stick it through that loop that you created before you wrapped it. Then you're going to take it and kind of like when you did your clinch knot, you're going to take your tag end and stick it through the loop that you just created. You're going to kind of pull on that. Just keep it pulled through. You don't have to pull it tight or anything like that. The next thing you're going to do is I like to take my thumb and pointer finger and just keep my wraps from coming up above the eye. And I'm just going to slowly pull on my main line. Every now and then you'll have to pull on your tag end to kind of keep everything straight and nice and neat. And you're just going to keep slowly pulling on your tag end. Or your main line. Sometimes it gets a little squirrely on you, like right there. It decided to pull up above my line. Sometimes you'll have to take it and do like that and push it down the shank of your hook. Like I said, sometimes you'll need to pull on your tag end to make sure it evens out and gets all nice and straight. Wetting your line is always really important when it comes to tying with fluorocarbon and monofilament, because fluorocarbon is basically plastic, and plastic melts when it has heat applied to it. And when you cinch down on a dry knot like this, it creates friction, which creates heat, which then in turn melts your line. And when you've got melted line, it can cause weakness. So if you've got 8-pound test and you pull it down real tight on a dry knot, it just creates weakness. You might have 6 pounds of strength, or you might have 2 pounds of strength. I mean, it just kind of depends on how much friction you cause and just different things like that. Once you get this tied, you need to cut your tag end off, and I normally try to cut it, and I leave a little bit of an end, but very, very little. Now, I was telling you earlier about how I tie this knot with the Texas rig. Well, say my thumb and forefinger are the weight. and they're sticking out a couple inches from the hook, and say a fish grabs onto my line as I'm dragging it around the bottom. Well, when I pull up on that, see here, hold on. When you tie a snell knot and you push your line through the eye or through the face first, when you go to set the hook, your hook kind of shoves upward. It keeps wanting to point forward. As you can see here, it kind of pulls the hook upward. The reason I prefer this with a Texas rig is because if you've got your weight hanging out and a fish grabs a hold of it, you yank on it, it's going to yank that hook up. Well, when it does that, it's more likely to hook into the fish, and therefore you have better hookup ratios, as well as you can put more confidence in the knot. If you tie it through the back, then when you go to set the hook, it's going to pull it back like this. And that would just about decrease, if not make it impossible, to hook fish when it goes like that. But like I said, you pull on it and it comes up like that. And that's the reason I like to tie that knot. Again, I'm going to get into a video where I talk specifically about the Texas rig, how I tie it, what I use on it, how I use it. Again, make sure you hit the subscribe and the thumbs up button down below. Tell all your friends, send them to my channel, tell them if they've got any questions or want me to make a specific video, to leave a comment below. That's it for this episode. Stay tuned for another episode. I'm trying to post one a day during the week. I work, so it's kind of hard to make videos every single day. So generally with these how-to videos, I kind of make 3 or 4 at a time, edit them down, and then post them one at a time throughout the week. With it being winter time, I don't really get to fish a whole lot. I did go crappie fishing not too long ago. Didn't get any good fish, so I didn't really get much good footage. But just stay tuned for the next episode. Hopefully I'll have something good for you. And until next time, see you later on Barkley Lake Bassin.